all been there, right? Sitting in a classroom. But did you ever stop and think, what is all this actually for? I mean, beyond the grades and the homework. Turns out, school has this huge, kind of invisible job in shaping, well, everything. And that's exactly what we're going to unpack in this explainer. So let's just push past all the usual stuff for a second. You know, the textbooks, the classrooms, the sound of the bell, and ask a way bigger question. I mean, seriously, think about it. We spend thousands of hours of our lives in school. Is all of that just to memorize dates for history tests or figure out X in algebra? Or is there something else going on? Something bigger, kind of behind the curtain? Yeah, you guessed it. It's so much more than just the official curriculum. Education is this incredibly powerful force that literally shapes our society. And to really get a grip on how it all works, we need a special kind of tool, a new way of looking at it. And that tool, that new lens, is what we call the sociology of education. It's what lets us see all these hidden wires connecting what happens in the classroom to the entire world outside. Now, here's the key thing to get. This is a two-way street. It's not just about how society shapes our schools. It's also about how our schools turn around and shape society. It's this constant, powerful back and forth. The philosopher John Dewey had a great way of putting it. He said education isn't just some practice run for the real world. No, it is the real world. It's a huge part of our life, happening right here, right now. Okay, so before we dive deeper, there's a quick little distinction I want to make. It's a small thing, but it's super helpful to know. So you might hear these two terms that sound almost the same, educational sociology and sociology of education. Here's the difference in a nutshell. Think of educational sociology as being the hands-on mechanic. It uses sociology to fix problems inside the car, inside the school. But what we're talking about today, the sociology of education, is more like the design engineer. It takes a step back to study the relationship between the car and the entire road system, the whole of society. It's a small difference in name, but a big difference in perspective. So what does this field even look like? Well, for one, it's not stuck in a box. It pulls in ideas from all over, like psychology and economics. It's scientific for sure, but its real focus is on people and how we relate to each other. And you know, since society is always changing, this field has to be dynamic, always moving forward. And maybe most importantly, this isn't just about theory. It's a practical field. The whole point is to understand our world so we can actually make it better. All right, so we've got this new lens. Cool, but why does it matter? What's the so what? What do we actually see when we look through it? Well, this lens shows us that education is basically juggling 5 huge jobs at once. First, it socializes us. It's where we learn all the unwritten rules and values of our culture. Then there's social control. You know, when you learn to raise your hand to speak, that wasn't just about being polite, it was about learning order and rules. Third, education can be a massive engine for social change, a place where old ideas get challenged and new ones are born. Fourth, it's all about social integration, throwing people from totally different backgrounds into the same room. And all these jobs are happening all the time, constantly shaping and reshaping our world. Once you see all of that, you realize you just can't think of schools as these little bubbles, totally separate from everything else. That's what this sociological approach does. It pops the bubble and shows you all the massive forces from the outside that are pushing and pulling on what happens inside. And this is where it gets super practical, especially if you're an educator. This isn't just some abstract idea. It's absolutely essential for things like understanding a diverse classroom, for trying to deal with social inequality, and for creating a curriculum that actually means something in the real world. And that brings us to maybe the biggest idea of all. To really get a handle on education, you can't see it as just one single thing. You have to see it as part of this giant, complicated web with threads connecting it to, well, everything. Yeah, the fancy term for it is a subsystem, but all that really means is that education is not an island. It's constantly bumping up against and being shaped by all the other big players in society. Let's take a look at a few of those big connections. Okay, first up, and this one's the big one, the connection between school and family. Because let's be real, a kid's education doesn't start when they walk through the classroom door for the first time. The family is ground zero for socialization. It's where we get the whole foundation, our basic values, our habits, our moral compass. I mean, a child's motivation, how they use language, all of that is being shaped at home way, way before a teacher ever says hello. All right, next up, let's talk about the connection between the classroom and the economy. And this one is powerful and really, really direct. This is probably the connection most of us see pretty clearly, right? School prepares people for jobs, that creates a skilled workforce, which affects employment, productivity, the whole shebang. A country's entire economy really depends on how good its schools are. The two are just completely tangled up together. And for our last big connection, let's look at education and politics. And trust me, this is way more than just what you learned in civics class. School is where we learn the ropes of being a citizen. It's how a society passes down big ideas like democracy, equality, and justice. But at the exact same time, you've got politics pushing back. Government policies have this huge power to shape everything about the school system, from how much money it gets to what's actually taught in the classroom. Okay, so we've mapped out this whole web of connections. So where do we go from here? What's the bottom line? It really boils down to this. If you want to fix something in education, you have to look at how it's connected to family, the economy, and politics. And it works the other way, too. You can't tackle a big social issue without understanding how education fits into the puzzle. Just seeing these connections, that awareness is the absolute first step if we ever want to make real, meaningful change. So I'm going to leave you with a question to chew on. Now that you can see this whole complicated web, if you had the power to change just one thing about how schools connect with the rest of society, what would you pick?